Hello everyone, my name's Blair Heptig. I'm with KDOT. Also here with KDOT is Christy Rezak. She's our pavement management engineer. What I'm going to talk about today is just some of our efforts with centerline rumble strip preservation, so I'll keep it quick. You guys have all seen something like this, right? You got a good pavement, good condition, maybe 3 or 4 years old, and you start to get these cracks along centerline. Usually you get a little bit of a separation along the seam there, and then you get some cracks that form kind of along the outside of those rumble strips. So we've been talking internally, the last couple of years, how do we address this problem? One easy strategy, probably the cheapest solution, is to have more stringent joint density requirements, and we've implemented that along with increased density efforts for mainline as well. But we've also been looking at some products to help prevent distress. And we've looked at numerous products, joint adhesive, so you see that on the right hand side. That's kind of like a glue to hold center line together. We tried a Craftco product on that. So that's probably one of the cheaper options, I would say. Probably on the other side, maybe the Cadillac, is the J-band, right? We've not done that yet, but it is something we are exploring for our toolbox. We've also looked at several different types of seals, right? I think our first two, we've looked at like a dilute tack and a rejuvenating emulsified asphalt. On the tack, we use like a dilute SS1H, dilute 50/50 with water in the field. What we saw on that, the first project, it worked okay. It didn't provide a real effective seal, but we didn't have any problems. On the second project, it was kind of late in the season. We got a pretty heavy application, and the striping on top kind of shelled off. And kind of what I think our thought process was is this is a little bit too soft of a substrate to be putting it on with such a rigid stripe material. And we did not have a lot of success with that, so we abandoned the tack. On the rejuvenating emulsified asphalt, it seemed to work well. We placed it on a UBAS or Nova chip. There was a lot of concern by the thermoplastic stripe contractor, but we did not see any issues. It was a pretty light application, and I think we avoided some of those issues because some of it soaked into the pavement. Clear Bio Rejuvenator, we tried, was it Delta Mist? I think you guys have heard of that one. We tried it, and I don't know if we went a little heavy, but we saw retroreflectivity numbers drop quite a bit. We placed it on top of the striping. Just didn't return to, the retroreflectivity numbers didn't return to where we wanted them in the amount of time we expected. So we only did that once. We actually scoped a project with, I believe it was a product from Ennis Flint. They called it a longitudinal joint seal. It's placed with a striping machine, but we did not get any bidders, so we kind of dropped that as an option. But what we've been looking at mostly for the past couple years is mastic surface treatment. It's maybe a little bit different than the mastic products some of you guys are used to. It's not a hot applied product. It's an emulsified type product. Maybe costs about 50 cents a foot of rumble strip that is sealed. So what it is, it's a spray applied blend of asphalt emulsion like a CSS1H, water, aggregates, filler, polymer, and other proprietary additives. And when this thing sets up, it provides a relatively stiff or rigid product. It does provide a good substrate for the striping. We've not seen any bleed through problems or any problems with the mastic or with the striping sticking to the mastic. So we've only done it a couple years. We're not sure how effective it is long term, but we'll give it a shot. We've been speccing an 18-inch wide seal just to give a little leeway there on our 1 foot wide rumble strip. We're scoping 2 passes with a total of 0.25 gallons per square yard of product. And what we saw on the first couple projects are, we have a few mastic contractors in the state, but they were not familiar with this particular type of application. They were used to doing it for like a shoulder seal or maybe a city street or parking lot type seal. So we had some issues on our first project. You can kind of see us on that picture on the right. We got quite a bit of overspray. And when you guys, I don't know how you guys are doing it, but when you're cutting rumble strips, we only spec 1 round of temporary tape on an overlay, right? So if If you're cutting in rumbles, you need to offset your temporary tape a little bit. Well, now with this 18-inch wide mastic seal, you got to offset a little more. And if you're getting overspray, you're probably not going to, like in that picture, you're probably not going to be able to orient it in an acceptable position. So it was a learning curve for some of our contractors, but what they kind of learned is that, yeah, you need to offset the temporary stripe, or the temporary stripe from the rumble strip and give room for the mastic application. And you really need to control your spray pattern. What we started seeing is some kind of metal hood or some kind of skirting like we got shown in the picture there. And also some of our contractors are working with some specialty nozzles. I don't know if any of you guys have been around this product. It's a little bit different type of distributor, right? Not only does it have the sweep agitation inside, but the spray bars and the spray pattern is much different than an emulsion coming out of a typical distributor. It's fewer fans, much wider fans. It's a higher spray bar, so there's a lot of opportunity for overspray. But this particular contractor added a set of, drop this extension down, has a couple nozzles on it, and it's maybe 6 inches off the ground. It does a pretty good job of preventing overspray and giving you a nice 18-inch wide seal. Keep in mind that you're applying emulsified asphalt product, you're going to be limiting your paving season. Since it's an emulsion, you maybe want to be 55, 60 degrees and rising, something like that. But that's all I had. All right, thank you.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.